My name is Matthew Rupanga. I am from Climate Smart Jobs. I'm team leader for Climate Smart Jobs team. Uh, Climate Smart Jobs is a British-funded program which has been running from 2023 and will be running up until 2028. The main element of what we are doing as Palladium under Climate Smart Jobs is to improve access to markets for smallholder farmers. And when we are talking about improving access to markets, we are talking about access to input markets, access to services market. When we talk about services, we are referring to things like tractors, insurance, and spraying, weeding, all those other type of services that smallholder farmers need to be able to convert the inputs that they are putting into the land to produce. When they then produce, which is their outputs, we are then trying to make sure that they've got the right markets for that as well. So we are trying to do that by holding very specific principles which are revolving around, number one, making sure that smallholder farmers are able to access inputs at the lowest price possible, but at the highest quality possible. Okay, so inputs at the lowest price possible, but highest quality possible. And then when they sell their produce, we are also working in Invest, and we're trying to make sure that they're able to sell their produce at the highest price possible, but also produce that is of the highest quality possible. So that's what we are working on in a nutshell. We have got various ways that we are doing this. I will start from the other extreme end and come to the most relevant bits. So we are doing this by, we've got one element of what we do, one bucket of work that we do, which we call ecosystem services, where we are interested in the relationship between men, land, water, and the sun. So which means we're trying to figure out how do we make sure that there's value that can be derived from the landscape that we find ourselves in. So how do we make sure that the landscape that we are operating in gives us the best return possible, but also we are maintaining it for not just our present self, but for future generations. So we've got one bucket of work around that. I'll move quickly on from that, but please feel free to talk to any of my colleagues or myself should you want to know a bit more about that. The other bucket of work is what we call the Uganda Climate Innovation Fund, where we are trying to find ideas that have not yet been proven from a proof of concept perspective. So these are ideas that are new, but that are showing a lot of promise around solving the problems of smallholder farmers as it pertains to their agriculture interventions in the light of climate change. We have been running this for a couple of years now. We are in the final window, which is window 4, which is being already reviewed as we speak, and the ones that were shortlisted from concept notes are already in a boot camp in Gulu, where they are going through training on how to write full proposals, which they will be submitting in the next couple of days. Some of them are from Kiriandongo district, so we are hoping that we will get some solutions that are very relevant, that are coming from this place, and hopefully maybe some of your friends are the ones that have been successful and are in that boot camp. And then the bigger part of the program, which we like to call the market systems development focused part of the program, we are implementing it through 3 main areas, which is an area which we call commercial agents model. And commercial agents is really about bridging the gap between agribusinesses and smallholder farmers. So we are trying to make sure that there is a fairer, non-extractive, non-abusive intermediary that exists between agribusinesses and smallholder farmers. And this fairer, non-abusive, non-discriminatory, all those negative things is we are trying to make sure that they are working on a commission basis and not on a margin basis. So which means that they are trying to make sure that smallholder farmers are getting the best value from the agribusinesses that they are working with. We are also trying to make sure that these commercial agents are doing multiple products and services to ensure that they've got, whilst they are working for small commission percentages, they've got multiple revenue streams and are able to bring in more income into their businesses. And so they are able to then offer smallholder farmers competitive pricing, but also competitive quality for their inputs, but also competitive pricing for the offtake of their outputs. So this is the one of the main ways that we are doing it. The second way we are doing it is through something that we call farmer group enterprises. And farmer group enterprises are formed when 2 to 20 farmers come together with a common business idea, and then they pool resources together. They register with the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, and they are then operating as a business. And we work with them to skill them up, to build up their capacity to operate this as a business, but also to explore and find other opportunities within the market for them to grow their enterprise. To date, we have been working on 5 business enterprises with farmer group enterprises, and we are about to move into a 6th one. The 5 are namely tractor services. So farmer groups have come together, put their resources together, bought low horsepower tractors that they are using for conservation agriculture. So we've got a couple of them that are already in play at the moment. The second one is shelling, where they've come together, they've put their resources together, they've then bought a tricycle with a shelling, with a multi-crop sheller that is installed on that tricycle, and they're able to move from farm to farm and provide shelling services to those farmers that need the service. And there's quite a few that are also available here in Kirandongo that are doing that. The third area of work is around goat breeding, and I think this one is a bit familiar to a number of you. We have already written some essays around it. And with goat breeding, what we are focusing on is doing a cross between local breeds of local female breeds with exotic male breeds that are especially we are focusing mainly on the Boer variety. And from this Boer variety, we are hoping that we get crosses of mainly the local Mubende goats being crossed with Boer to get a hybrid that is then going into the community and being sold to people that are interested in off-taking higher breed goats, and we can see better quality goats in the community. The 4th area of work that we've been doing with farmer group enterprises has been around chickens, where in partnership with some private sector companies that we are working with, they are raising layer beds from day old to point of lay, which is close to about 5 months. And at that point of lay, they are then they've brought in farmer group enterprises into their supply chain, and they've incorporated them to be part of their business. And at 5 months, they are able to place these layer beds with these farmer group enterprises, who are then able to produce eggs on a daily basis, and are able, and the private companies that we're working with are then providing an off-take market for those eggs, but they're also providing an input market for the feeds that they need, the veterinary drugs they need, and are also providing extension to these groups to make sure that they are doing the chicken rearing the right way. So this is the 4th area that we are working with farmer group enterprises. The 5th area that we are working with farmer group enterprises is around the production of various horticultural crops, like tomatoes, like onions, like skumawiki, spinach, with specific off-takers that are interested in off-taking these horticultural crops at a very large scale. So the whole idea being that on a 1 acre model, where they've got access to irrigation, to water, they are able to produce throughout the year but on a synchronized basis, so that by the time our harvest time comes, a lot of the big off-takers of horticultural crops need predictable, high-quality products. So they want to be able to know that every week they get 10 tons of onions, and that every week they get 10 tons of tomatoes. And so it's about synchronizing these farmer group enterprises in such a way that they are able to produce in a way that supplies the market without breaks, and they're able to continue to supply high quality produce to these markets. So that's the 5 areas that we're currently working. The 6th area that we are introducing is around piggery. So we are looking at breeding of pigs, but also fattening of pigs for the market. And we are already in advanced discussions with some private companies that are interested in growing the base of breeding of pigs that they are doing. But also the ones that are interested in doing outgrower programs with smallholder farmers to broaden out what they do with pigs. I want to circle back to commercial agents and talk a little bit about commercial agents and say, with these commercial agents, we have tried and tested a number of products and services that are being then offered by these commercial agents. And a number of these services are ranging from seeds to fertilizers to crop enhancing inputs to like tillage services, aggregation of tillage services, aggregation of labor. But one of the ones that I wanted to zoom in, which is very relevant and very current, is the Pfumvudza model, which we were talking about. So the Pfumvudza model. So I was hearing different pronunciations being attempted. So the P is not silent. The P is combined with the F. So you say Pfu, and Mvudza, the DZA at the end. So you do pronounce everything that is in that word. So it's Pfumvudza. Pfumvudza is a Shona word that refers to a new season. So it reflects spring, the beginning of spring. So at the beginning of spring is where you see trees, those trees that produce flowers, you see them all blossoming and producing flowers, which is signaling the beginning of a rainy season, that the rain season is about to start. And it is a signification. It signifies hope. It signifies a renewal of things, and that's what Pfumvudza means. Pfumvudza is trying to demonstrate hope, a renewal of things. Through the Pfumvudza model, there are various things, and unfortunately, the low-hanging fruit that everyone wants to talk about is mulching. But Pfumvudza model is a lot more than mulching. It is about precision agriculture. So it is about making sure that you've got the right inputs, you are planting them in the right quantities. There's no wastage. You are not putting resources that are not needed where they are not needed. So it has got a number of principles that it observes. The first principle is around minimum soil disturbance. So Pfumvudza does not require you to go and till the whole land where you want to plant. So you are able to save on labor, you are able to save on time, you are also able to make sure that your soil where you are farming is being regenerated. So with regards to Pfumvudza, you simply need to just come in and slash the area where you want to plant. Having slashed the area you want to plant, you are then able to use it's about precision farming. So you need to do measurements, and the typical plot size for Pfumvudza is a 16 by 39 meters. So 16 by 39 meters, and then you come in and then you do the inter-row spacing that is required on the 39 meters, and then you do the in-row spacing that is required on the 16 meters. So when you do the in-row spacing, I'm looking at, I've got my trainers here on Pfumvudza, and I'm looking at them. When we are doing the in-row spacing, how many centimeters do we do for in-row spacing when planting maize?
60 centimeters.
60 centimeters in. All right. So when planting in row, 60 centimeters. So you start from the place that you have dug. You look for 60 centimeters, which is pretty much about 2 feet. For those that measure in feet, that's about 2 feet. You have a planting station and then another planting station until you finish your 16 meters. And then going this way on your 39 meters. So when you plant in row, how many seeds do you end up having planted? When you plant in your row? In one row. Please say. Yes. The number of planting stations. Sorry. Number of seeds can be misleading. I see why you hesitated.
Is it 28?
28 planting stations. So you have got 28 planting stations going this way. And then how many rows do you get going this way?
52.
You get 52 rows going this way. So you have got 28 planting stations in row, and then inter-row you've got 52 rows. So when you then plant, the principle there being that if you have done it well, within each planting station, for maize specifically, when you're planting maize, within each planting station you plant 3 grains of maize. You plant 3 grains of maize. You have implanted your 3 grains of maize. When they germinate, why do we plant 3?
We plant 3 to support us, just in case maybe if one doesn't do well, the 2 can still support. Looking at least each planting station giving us 500 grams of maize.
I think if we're in church, I would say hallelujah. So exactly that. So what we want out of every planting station is 2 stalks of maize. So we plant 3 in case the other one doesn't germinate. Because remember, this is precision agriculture. We have got no room for things to not go right. So we plant 3. We are hoping that out of those 3, at least we'll get 2 to germinate. But even if we get the 3, when we look at them after they've germinated, we will go and remove the one that looks the least healthy. So we go and remove the one that looks the least healthy. We remain with 2. And as you have heard from our master trainer, when you are left with 2, these 2 give you
500 grams. That is looking at, it depends on the variety of the maize, but based on experience, we have looked at longer 10, even if it has been a single cobber. But at least through experience, we saw each stalk giving us 2 cobs per plant. Meaning if we have 2 stalks within a planting station, we are at least not badly off or far away from the 500 grams. Yeah. We can't though guarantee.
Yes. So if you're getting 500 grams per planting station, I'm happy that we're talking with students of agriculture here. If you've got 28 planting stations multiplied by 500 grams, what does that give you? 14 kilograms. So, sorry. So 28 stations give you 1,400 grams. 14,000 grams, sorry. 14,000 grams, which is 14 kilograms. So we get 14 kilograms of grain per each row. And that 14 kilograms of grain should ideally be enough to feed a family of
about 6 to 7 for a week.
Thank you very much. So that, and then you've got 52 rows, which represent how many weeks?
That is a full year.
A full year. So 52 rows then give you 52 weeks of the year, which is a full year. So you have got enough maize for each week of the year after you are done, after you've done harvesting. So that's exactly what Fumvudza is about. It is about making sure that once you've done it, you've got more than enough maize for the whole family for the year. In just a small plot, who remembers the measurements that we talked about for the plot? For this one, I want to move away from the trainer. Who remembers the measurements for the plot? And not you, William, as well. Okay. I heard you called Professor by the MC, so maybe I'll call you Professor.
Professor.
The mic is over there.
The measurement is 16 meters by 39 meters.
All right. Do we have an idea of what 16 by 39 meters looks like in our heads? I'll demonstrate for you. So this is 1 meter, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now imagine double that, because I've got no room to go. So double that is what gives you 16 meters. And then 39 meters is 2 times the 16 meters plus 7 meters. I feel like I've done more maths there for people to keep up with me. But 39 meters, I can also attempt from there, and let's see where we end, so that you've got an idea. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So you see that distance, roughly double that distance, plus double the distance here is the field that we're talking about. So that's a very small piece of land. And from that small piece of land, you are able to feed a family of 6 for an entire year once you've planted it. And all you have yet to do, no tractor has come to your farm. You have just had to have a rope that you have measured. You have then gone on and you have dug holes only where you want to plant. You don't disturb the soil anywhere else you don't want to plant. You're just digging where you want to plant. Having dug where you want to plant, if you're using manure, 1 cup of organic manure per planting station. And every single planting station should get the same level of manure. This is precision farming. Every planting station. If you're planting with fertilizer, it's 5 grams. So it's microdosing. It's a bottle top of soda. You pour in a line in every planting station. So this much fertilizer, you don't need a lot of fertilizer. Per every planting station, this is enough fertilizer. You pour it in a line. Having poured it in a line, you want to lightly cover the fertilizer so that it's not in direct contact with the seed. So you lightly cover it with soil. Having lightly covered it with soil, you then come and you put your 3 seeds, you spread them almost in a line in that planting station. So you put 1 here, 1 there, 1 there in a line so that they are not on top of each other. And they allow, they've got equal access to nutrients as they sit in there. Then you lightly you cover the soil without leaving any seed bare. So you're not leaving any seed exposed, and you cover it with soil. And then you let that, you leave the elements of creation to allow it to germinate. And then you then either pre-mulch, which is preferred. You should always pre-mulch if possible. If you hadn't pre-mulched, then you can also mulch as it germinates. But good practice says you should pre-mulch before you plant. Why do we mulch?
Reason as why we have to mulch our Formosa motor curtain. One is that we have to control the runoff. The running water, which normally runs off with the topsoil, which is having more nutrients and which can support our crops. Then another thing, we mulch to also prevent direct sun heat, which hits normally the ground, and you'll find when you have not mulched, there are some crops which will yield up or dry up. Another thing, as we are to mulch our crops, is to maintain the moisture which is within the soil for our crops to grow healthy. Then also it protects us. You see, when it is raining, rain falls direct on the ground. So when it is bare, like what we are seeing here, you'll find that the rain is splashing away the topmost nutrient soil. When you have mulch, that the rate of splash will be low, hence the rain will heavily fall on the mulches, and then it penetrates slowly into the ground, helping our crops to grow healthy.
So maybe just in addition, we have also experienced mulching, helping us in killing weeds. As time goes on, you'll also find that the mulch has decayed and still improve the fertility of the soil. That is where, for us, our basis is, because we believe when you feed the soil, at the end of the day, you'll still have better food. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think that's a very, thank you for reminding me that on that one. That one is a very important point, which is the fact that when you mulch, because I don't know if any of you have sat under a house with grass thatch. It is cool when you sit under it. It's not as hot as when you sit under iron sheets. When you sit under grass, it cools. So mulch cools the soil. When it cools the soil, it allows for there to be a lot of microorganisms that are multiplying underneath it. So you see that when you mulch a place and you come after like a month and you sort of lift the mulch, you see that there's a lot of little things that are moving around that are and if you're farming, you want a lot of those microorganisms in the soil, because those microorganisms are what make the soil a lot more healthier. So the more microorganisms you get in the soil, the healthier your soil is, which means that you are able to make sure that your soil gives you a lot more without using too many other products to make it useful. But also over time, that same mulch rots and decays and goes into the soil and adds to the organic matter in the soil, which make it even more nutritious for the plants that you plant in future periods. But one of the most important things that the cornerstones again around Pfumvudza is around timely execution. So everything you do on time. It's farming on time. So you dig your holes well ahead of your need to plant, and then you make sure that you are not rushing. You don't wait the way that we normally farm, where the rains come and then we are at our neighbor's door and we are knocking and we're saying, can you lend us your plow? Can you lend us your cows? Can we hire your tractor? With Pfumvudza, you can prepare before the rains even start, so that by the time the rains are starting, you are just able to plant and your crops are able to speed off. So one of the reasons I liked what Williams, I was in a place yesterday with William, and he made the comment and he said, when you plant early, your crops, pests do not know what's happening in your field, and so they do not affect your field, which is a very good way of explaining it. The thing is that there are different pests for each stage of your crop, and when there's a lot of you that have got your crop at the same stage, there's higher chances of your crop being attacked by that pest. But if your crop is moving faster than everybody else around you, so if your maize is at knee height where everyone else is at ankle height, which means that the incidence of pest attacking your crop at that level, because the crops that are there, the pests that are there are the ones that attack crops at ankle height. They are not the ones that attack crops at knee height. So when they come to your crops are too healthy, they go, you are too late, me, I'm gone. And so they continue growing, and you are less affected by pests by planting on time. And so you are ahead of everybody else. Then the other principles is to plant with joy. So have a lot of joy, because whatever you are doing, when you are doing it with joy, it is likely to succeed. But coming back and circling back to precision, be checking and measuring everything that you're doing and seeing the progress of what you're doing. Check and see whether your mulch is okay or your mulch is not bringing the disease. So there are certain principles, like when you're selecting mulch, don't pick mulch that is coming from crops that were already infested with pests, because then it means you're just carrying those pests and bringing those pests into your plants. So just make sure also that the mulching that you're using is okay, that it's not pest infested or it's not diseased mulch. So just those are some basic principles that you can also follow and look at. But you can also apply the same principles of Pfumvudza that apply to maize. You can apply them to soybeans, you can apply them to sunflower, you can apply them to sorghum. You can also apply them to common beans as well. The same measurements that you do for soya are the same measurements that you do for common beans. But we are not in a Fumbuza training. I just wanted to bring this discussion a bit to life so that we've got a bit of a better understanding of Fumbuza.